Hello and good morning. Welcome to this live Periscope broadcast. My name is Tyler Douthit, e-commerce expert, top 2% Amazon seller, entrepreneur. This is a live broadcast with the hopes of doing good Q&A. I would love to answer any questions you might have about e-commerce, selling on eBay, selling on Amazon, anything like that. I'd be happy to answer. While I wait for the viewers to come in, a brief introduction about myself. I am the largest earbud seller on Amazon, largest earbud seller in North America, building my personal brand, entrepreneur. I do some various financing with real estate, work from my home with one of my wife's brothers and a nephew actually coming in February, moving to a pretty nice house coming in February when when the tax stuff settles down. And that's kind of the gist about me. Sell over 10,000 earbuds a day, which is what it takes to be the largest seller and what it takes to be a top 2% Amazon seller. Those are not individual sales. I do cater to the bulk market. They are sold primarily in 50 and 100 packs. So 100 orders equals 10,000 earbuds. And that's just how that goes. And schools are the biggest driver of that. They order a lot from me on Amazon. They order a lot directly, send over POs, call, order online. All sold under the brand TFD Supplies. Welcome to Google, TFD Supplies if you're interested in seeing about that, or look up Tyler Douthit on Google to see what you might find. That's the brief intro about me. Please ask any questions if you have any questions about personal finance, about e-commerce, selling on eBay, selling on Amazon, my thoughts on just about anything. I'll be honest and just give it to you straight. I don't charge for any content, all 100% free. So I would be happy to answer anything with my pure, honest opinion. And until the questions come in, I'll just keep on going on my own here. Pushing big into audio. Initially it started with, I would just strip the audio with the free tools out of my YouTube videos, and that worked pretty well. And then I started going more and more into pure exclusive audio content. So I started a podcast, 4 episodes in now, the TD Project, my initials. And I have my employee Ben, as well as his wife, who's a really good addition to the show. And that's a weekly podcast. You can find it on SoundCloud, iTunes, all the audio channels, except for Spotify. It's hard to get into Spotify. But everything but Spotify, you can find that on easily iTunes, Google Play, Music, all those things is on there. And that's really insightful. I try to offer fresh perspectives. I'm gifted with some things, and one of those things is the ability to see a couple layers, couple chains down the link, the long-term cause and effect of things, to see holes in systems, gaps in systems, which I've learned as I've gotten older is really just an ability to be an entrepreneur. When you see a hole in a system or an inefficiency, that really is an opportunity. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that's what I have. I don't gauge that podcast directly towards entrepreneurship because, let's be honest, there are 100 people far more rich and successful than me that already have successful podcasts, so I'm not sure I can offer legitimately the value they can, and that's just reality. But what I do offer well is my journey as a growing entrepreneur, starting from kind of small level, moving into mid-level, as I would call it. They're like high level, kind of like a Division I basketball player. They oftentimes live pretty normal lives, but yet they are towards the top of their craft. I really don't consider myself a major league player because I'm not bringing in $100 million a year. That's how it goes. But I'm honest about that as I go through stuff. But it allows me, my business allows me to provide a pretty comfortable life. My wife stays home. I work and have my one teammate, Ben, who does a lot of the work. I'm a more high-level strategizing, tactics, marketing, branding at this point. He's a lot of the day-to-day grind. There's a lot of packaging, re-shipping boxes come in process inventory, stuff like that. He does a lot of that stuff. And I've also been growing my personal brand along the way. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Snapchat, Tyler Douthit, the number 1. Everything else you can find under my regular name, Tyler Douthit. So please ask any questions you want. You do have an e-commerce expert here. I'd be happy to give any kind of insight, value that I can. And until they get the questions in, I'll just keep on rambling about myself. Right now I got about another maybe 20 minutes or so. My daughter has her speech therapy at the school across the street here. And my wife and I alternate which days we take her. And this was my day, so I have then time for a live broadcast. Hey there, TrueTask. Have time for a live Periscope broadcast here in between. And that's what I do, try to provide some kind of value. That's a lot of what allows people to get more done than they realized. The other day before, hey there, AZ Mike War, good morning. The other day, Holly, before the podcast recording, the TD Project, before we started, she had asked, I don't know how you get so much done in the day. And I told her a lot of it is cutting out inefficiencies. I don't spend an hour on Facebook during the day. I don't watch cat videos. In this, I have a half an hour time frame that the speech therapy goes on. In that time, I don't sit there and surf the internet. I do something like this. I work on business. I answer emails. I tweet. I respond. I do a live broadcast like this. And then later on, when I get back, I'll strip the audio out and upload this to different channels and all that to provide as much value as I can. It also helps to create content if you're building a personal brand. Content is key. Content always has been key. Content always will be key. So please ask any questions you want. I got a little bit of time here. I'll be happy to answer any question you have. Please, any question that I could provide any kind of value with. If you've thought about selling on eBay, selling on Amazon, well, let's come out and say some of the stuff. If you want to sell on eBay or sell on Amazon, make some extra money, make a lot of money. A lot of how much you make is based on how hard you're willing to work. That's just reality. Where you want to start is you go to there's two sites I would recommend to start with for sourcing the products. Go to dhgate.com, kind of like David Henry Gate, like Golden Gate, dhgate.com, or AliExpress, ALI Express.com. Either one of those sites. Those are overseas suppliers selling goods in bulk, catering to American buyers, and they are really productive in that. It's good because you don't want to get ripped off by them overseas because you don't have a whole lot of recourse. If you order from Hong Kong and they decide to rip you off, you don't have a whole lot you can do to get your money back. Those sites are very nice. Ali is Chinese, yes it is. Part of the Alibaba group of things, and that's one of the many subsidies of Alibaba, AliExpress. And they're really good for things like that because it's somewhat of an escrow service. So when you buy the goods, and then later on, they send the products, and then once you get the products and you're happy with them, then they release the funds, so it helps as an escrow service. TrueTask, you're saying trademark and copyright issues, not really. There is always counterfeiting issues overseas. It's kind of like the wild, wild west over there. They do a lot of whatever they want, and they're mostly just in it for themselves and to make money, so that is something to be aware of. I don't have a whole lot of trademark and intellectual property issues to deal with in my particular line of work, so that's not a huge deal for me. Like I do have TFD Supplies, that is a federal trademark, but it's not a big deal. If you were getting something like a household name branded or something like that, that is common and they are known over there. They will make 1,000 of something for one person and then 100 for themselves and sell it on the side of a different brand. Very common. So you'd have to be careful with those things. The AliExpress and DHgate are good because they are already kind of existing products. It's not, you're not pioneering the new product, but once you look at those products there, then you can see what they have there, the prices, the options, then look what they are selling for on eBay, on Amazon, and then decide what might be a good fit for you based on your experience, your strengths and weaknesses and things like that, as not to violate. I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Are you worried about you violating trademark and copyright issues, or them violating your trademark and copyright issues? Two different stories, and I would be happy to give my opinion on whichever way it is. I don't entirely follow. Sorry, a lot of background noise. There's a road right across the way here. But as far as intellectual property, they don't really honor it a whole lot over there, to be honest. So a trademark could have a copyright, a patent in the U.S. They very well might not honor it that much overseas. That's wrong, but it's just the way it is. So you have to go with that moving forward, because all you can do is look at reality and do your best to position yourself in reality to capitalize and excel. That's one thing I think so many people don't do, and it holds them back in life, is you wish it was a certain way, you bitch and moan and complain about it being a certain way, instead of realizing this is reality. I'm not going to be able to change reality. What can I do with reality to get myself ahead in life? And so many people aren't able to make that decision to realize that none of us, myself included, are ever going to be big enough to change the world. So few people, 1/10 of 1%, maybe 1 out of 100 million, are ever going to change the world directly. I'm never going to be one of those. Hey there, Brizzer 745 coming in. I'm never going to be big enough to change the world, and I'm cool with that. So I realize that all I can do is look at how the world is, where I think the world's going to go, and make the best choices I can to get ahead. And it served me pretty well, because you can't be romantic and nostalgic about how things are, how they used to be, how you want them to be. All you can do is look at where they are and where you think they're going, and take your best option to position yourself to take advantage of that for yourself, your family, your business. That's all you can do. And I think that holds people back a lot of times is the inability to see the world as it is and take advantage of that versus where they wish the world was. Because wishing is great. You can wish in one hand and take a crap in the other hand and see which one is heavier. Wishing doesn't really get anywhere. Action does sometimes. Are you ever going to be big enough to change the world? Probably not. Either am I. I'm never going to be big enough to change the world, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But that's just how it is. Reality, take advantage of it. Plan and take advantage of reality. It's their first day on Periscope. Hey there, Fuck, yeah, first day on Periscope. Good to see you. Thank you for watching. Please, anybody ask any questions, I would be happy to answer any questions you have today. Please, anything about, if you're interested in e-commerce, I know a decent bit about computers. Well, I see your response there, but I unfortunately don't speak that language. It looks maybe like something Slavic or Russian. I don't know. That's my guess. Hey there, Mr. BL2 coming in. Please, any questions you have, please ask. Please ask. I've got about, looking at my watch here, I got about 10 minutes left that I can do this. And I would love to provide some value specific to you. So if you got a question you want to ask me, anyone that's coming in new, top 2% Amazon sellers based on reported seller statistics, I am in the top 2% of Amazon sellers. So you have to take that when you consider what you're going to ask. I know a little bit about selling online, or a lot about selling online. I know all about their systems, the e-commerce, the websites, credit card processing, fulfilled by Amazon, Amazon Prime, fulfilled by a merchant, shipping costs, shipping couriers, all these things. So please consider asking any question about any of that stuff. I know a lot about it. Initial cost for startup, low. It depends what you want to get, but you can get if you're going to sell as a professional seller on Amazon, $40 a month. You can sell on eBay for free. They only take a commission when you sell, and that depends on the category you choose to list in, but plan on maybe 10 to 15% of your selling price going to PayPal and eBay fees when you sell on eBay. Amazon, $40 a month flat rate, and then about maybe on the category between 7 and 15%, but that depends on the category. So those aren't really only one of those is a hard cost is a $40 for the Amazon startup cost. Beyond that, you can get a domain, $12 a year from GoDaddy. You can get a hosted for $1, $2, $3 a month. So for less than $60 a month, you can have your whole own e-commerce setup up and running. It's not that hard to do. You can do something like PrestaShop or Shopify. Both have their strong suits and pullbacks. So you can investigate which one of those is best for you. But PrestaShop or Shopify, one of the two I'd recommend. GoDaddy, definitely for domains where I have all my domains at the cheapest. You can find coupon codes online, so do that. I'll look for GoDaddy coupon codes. You'll find some. Never pay the full domain price. You can always find a coupon code. And then once you have that, the only other hard part, which is the hard part, is what are you going to sell. So the overall cost or startup cost of that is super dependent on what it is you want to sell. If you're looking to sell keychains, you might only be in for $0.25 a piece. You could buy 100 and you're in for $25. If you're looking to sell something that costs $100 a piece, well then if you get 100, that's 100. Let's see, times 100, that's $10,000. So it's a big difference. So much depends on the inventory. I would highly suggest looking into Amazon Prime. That's when my sales really exploded, going from fulfilled by merchant to Amazon Prime. Almost everything that comes in now in the earbuds goes to the Amazon warehouses and then out on Amazon Prime, because people really love that and will pay extra for it, and it is the way to go. So use Amazon Prime. Selling on Amazon costs more. You're going to be looking at 20 to 25% of your selling costs going to Amazon for the privilege of selling on Amazon Prime. And it is a privilege because the market is so vast. You can make a lot of money if you're good at it, willing to work hard, and can find the right kind of product to sell. Affiliate associates, good path or not? Probably not. People can make money on affiliates. It is true. A lot of people make a decent money on affiliates, but in my opinion, my 2 cents, it's an ever-changing game. And you can make some money, but then eventually the system catches up, and that is no longer the thing you want to be selling. Whether it's not popular, whether it's wrong, whatever the case may be, it's no longer the thing to be selling. And then there's the next thing to be selling, and then for whatever reason that burns out, then there's the next thing to be selling, and you're always chasing one thing after the next. And yes, you can make money, but in my opinion, it's better to push something you can do more long term. You can do for years and years. You could maybe even build a brand, a personal brand, a brand of whatever it is you're selling. So while you can make money on affiliates, you can be an affiliate of some particular brand. It tends to be a short-term path. Then you have to find the next thing again in a year or 2 years from now, and then it's almost like it's starting over again. Personal opinion on that. I don't have anything against affiliate marketing or affiliates. Just it's an ever-changing landscape, and it changes faster than other parts of business, in my opinion. So it's a harder game to keep up with versus building a business and having your one business evolve over time to keep up with the world. Instead, you are trying to find what the next thing is because the initial one's going to burn out. In my opinion. Thank you very much for your question. I appreciate that. Hey there, Crazy Cola. Please ask a question. I would love to answer any questions. This is all live. Top 2% Amazon seller. Your 2 cents are more value than that. Thank you. Following, appreciate that. And hi there. And please, just because you're thinking about that, you already are probably following on Twitter. If you're seeing this, I respond to every tweet. So feel free to tweet at me anytime. You can also follow my snaps, Snapchat, Tyler Douthit, the number 1 on the end. And I'm going hard into podcasting, hard into audio. So consider following Tyler Douthit on any of your favorite audio platforms, except for Spotify. I wish they would let people in more often, but they're super close-gated. You got to have a huge following to have a chance at applying for Spotify. But SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Anchor, Stitcher, all those. So look up Tyler Douthit on those. Those are nice. I'm big into audio because you can multitask. You can listen to a podcast while you're working. I listen to Gary Vee. I listen to Andy Frisella while I'm working. So it only makes sense for me to also be hard into audio because I realize firsthand the value that it is to have something that I can multitask with. It doesn't take my full attention. Yes, you can have a video on in the background, but it's a different medium, and you lose something when you have something for video you're not really going to watch, whereas if it's designed for audio, then that medium you can take to your fullest advantage and design it for audio, and then really provide that much more value. So I would consider getting into podcasting. The barrier to entry is very low, free. You can record using your phone. You can upload to YouTube. You can strip the audio out with free utilities online. Upload that to a free account on SoundCloud. You can get that syndicated on iTunes and Google Play and Stitcher, all for free. So it's free to get into podcasting. Assuming you already have a smartphone, it's free to get into podcasting. So I would consider that because we're all valuable in different ways. Some of us more than others, just the way it works out. But you probably have something interesting to say and don't realize it. And it's a long-term play. I'm just now getting hard into podcasting, but I've heard people say that if you're not willing to do it at least a week for a year, don't even start, because it's a long-term game, and each time you hope to gain one follower per one, and you hope they tell one person. Of course, if you do that for a long time, hey there, what, Jake? Come in. If you do that for a long time, then it grows organically, and that's what you want. That's what I'm aiming for. Is what's happening. And I see numbers steadily increasing on the podcast, which is exactly what I want, but it all takes time. It's not about gaining 1,000 or 100,000 listeners. It's about gaining one and hoping that you made it so good, they'll tell one person they like. And if you can do that, that will take care of itself, because one at a time will spread just as, with a lot more satisfaction, a lot more efficiency, really, than 100,000 at a time, because that's not reality for most people. Please, any further questions? Thank you for the hearts. I don't have much longer. I got about maybe 1 or 2 minutes. So that means 1 or 2 more questions. If you thought about asking a question and you're watching there, looking at this handsome guy, thinking, what can I ask this top 2% Amazon seller, e-commerce expert? What can I ask him to help me out? Now is the time. I'm here to provide value. I want to help you. I want to answer a question specific to what you are interested in. So please ask before it's too late. Not much longer, 1 or 2 more questions in the order in which they show up on the screen. So please consider asking. If not, I'll keep rambling on my own. I talked about podcasting, building personal brands. I think that personal brands are valuable not only for people in the entrepreneur world, but also people inside of a business, because if you go to get a job somewhere, your social presence, the influence you have, the followers you have, the kind of things you post out to the world, that's going to become more valuable than your resume. So many programs to learn. Do you recommend any? Thank you for your question, True Task. No, I don't. I have people ask me to put up a program a lot, but I'd have a hard time thinking that whatever I charge would be the right kind of value. And I'd much rather give out value for free and then build that brand and that influence over time. Programs, no, I'm not an expert on Amazon programs. I know there are a bunch there, but to be honest, I've never read an Amazon program. You can learn a lot on Amazon seller forums, and a lot of it's trial and error. You're going to get farther and learn more. So no, would I get a program? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't waste your hard-earned money, because you would be just as good looking at free tutorials on Google about how to sell on Amazon or whatever platform you're looking to sell on. That's going to be a better value for your time than any paid course, in my opinion. I'm not an expert on the paid courses, but I am an expert on selling on Amazon. And I've never taken or looked at a course. I'm very hesitant of courses in general, because you want to look at practitioners, people that do what it is they're selling. And it's tempting for people that are really good salespeople. If you're really good at marketing and sales, it's really tempting to write, how to become a millionaire overnight on Amazon. That's a tempting thing to do, because you can make money doing that. But I would guarantee a high majority of these people selling courses have never actually built a long-term, successful, highly profitable Amazon business. Their business is selling people on Amazon businesses versus growing and building Amazon businesses. So whatever route you choose to go, entirely up to you. My only advice is make sure that whoever you are looking at or following or considering buying a course or a subscription or something from, please make sure it's someone that's actually done it. You want a practitioner. You want a person who's built a real business talking about it, because they're the ones with real life, real value experience, not someone that writes a course about it. Yes, some of those people write courses. They do. I'm not going to say they're all hucksters and liars, because that's not the case. Some I'm probably sure are really good, but please be careful. Many aren't. There are people out there that would happily take your $50, $100, $200, $500 for their PDF and walk away, that have never done it, that all they do is write a PDF and upload it. Info data is a very dangerous space, because anybody can be anybody, and it's not hard to try to bait and craft a well-written website or a Facebook advertisement to reel in someone that is seen by the appeal of a overnight Amazon selling success. These things take time. They take time. Amazon favors high volume sellers. Let that process for a second. Amazon favors high volume sellers. So the more you sell, the better you rank. The more you rank, the better you sell. It's a cycle that favors the high performers. It's hard to break into the circle of high performers because they don't favor you at first. So you have to build, and it takes years. I've been selling on Amazon for years. Multiple years, and it takes time to build a reputation, to build your feedback, your product feedback, your seller feedback. All your metrics takes time and years. So don't let someone fool you. Never let them fool you and think it's going to be an overnight on there. It's going to take you years, months at the minimum, bare minimum months, even with ideal product and pricing, months, and realistically years if you want to dominate, because they reward high volume sellers. Never forget that with Amazon. That's all I got time for today. I appreciate the questions, everyone. Thank you for following, for watching. All over Google, Tyler Douthit, if you're interested in my content, and Tyler Douthit, the number 1, Tyler Douthit 1 on Snapchat. True Task, I don't have any more time to answer that, but I will be very happy to answer any questions you have. Just Google Tyler Douthit, whatever. You can tweet at me here, DM me, whatever method you want. I'll be happy to answer your questions, but I do have to go. Thank you everyone for watching, for following, for listening. Have a good day.